Why do we feel it's necessary to yak about bullshit in order to be comfortable?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's I, the Reluctant Gringo, back again for another issue of Late Night with the Gringo. That's right, I am your Gringo. And yeah, it's a beautiful day down here south of the border, but I do want to start off with an apology. I have to apologize. Those of you that have been with me or seen my show multiple times and know that, or when I've talked about it, know that, you know, I do suffer from an illness, and sometimes that chronic illness becomes pretty bad and it sidelines me. And so I've been gone for, I think, almost 5 days, and I really haven't posted anything. I haven't gone live. I haven't streamed. I haven't done any of that. And I just wanted to say, I'm sorry I was gone. I was literally incapable of streaming and just had to get my health back. And so I'm back. I'm not 100%. So if I seem a little wonky or I seem like, you know, the mind's wandering a little bit, you know, there's still some medicine running through these veins. But I'm good and glad to be good and better. I should say better. So I decided, yeah, let's do some Late Night with the Gringo. Let's start out old school. Late Night with the Gringo, the OG show. And instead of we'll do South of the Border tomorrow as normal, like we normally do on Fridays. There's plenty of political news to talk about tomorrow. There's political news to talk about tonight. There's also some sort of pop culture political news, and I love it when pop culture meets politics because I think it's fun. And so I wrote the title of today's video because I really had that question. Are conservatives becoming snowflakes? Like, I left the Democratic Party because I'm not a snowflake. I don't want to be a snowflake. I'm a member of Generation X. We care less about your feelings, and I'm sure you could care less about mine. I really don't want you to care about mine. So, and what do I mean by that, becoming snowflakes? Well, there's, you know, as I lay down in bed and I was incapacitated for days, all of a sudden, you know, and I know Pedro Pascal's become a favorite hit piece or hit target of certain YouTube channels, and, you know, the YouTube channels that want to ruin movies or tell you it's going to suck even before they've even seen it, or whatever rumors come out, or don't see this movie because this person has this political view or something like that. I'm like, okay, fine. I guess that's your opinion. That's your opinion. If you're not going to see the Fantastic Four because you don't like the fact that Pedro Pascal's a Democrat, okay, that's fine. Whatever. Cool. That's your choice, right? But it just seems to be this new narrative that all of a sudden I saw in Benny Johnson, a conservative YouTuber. He's got like over 1 million subscribers, pretty popular, been around for a little bit. I saw it on Nerdrotic. I saw it on WDW Pro. You know, so I saw all these feeds popping up with like pictures of Pedro Pascal, like his eyes going crazy and whatnot. And it's just you know, Fantastic 4-star melts down. And I'm like, melts down? All right, it melts down. That's interesting, right? Hey, meltdown. I'm like, oh, meltdown means you went nuts, right? You went crazy. You just totally lost it. And, you know, pictures of him, you know, crying with burning money. Hollywood is burning, and the Fantastic Four, Pedro Pascal is dooming the Fantastic Four. And I'm like, really? Okay, well, this seems pretty serious. Let's figure out what this is. I mean, if this guy's, you know, my age, and I'm like, he's losing it. Maybe I could lose it. I don't know. Let's see what's going on with this dude. He seems like he's got a pretty good life. He's an actor. He's making tons of money, making tons of cool films, you know, whether you like him or not. Hey, if someone said to you, we want you to be in a Marvel film, you'd be like, yeah. All right. And if someone said to you, hey, we want you to be in, I don't know, Gladiator, you'd be like, yeah. We want you to be in a Star Wars project and wear Mandalorian armor, you'd be like, yeah. So, all right, cool. So, but apparently Pedro Pascal is is an a-hole, and I'm not sure why. So I'm like, let's figure this out. He's an a-hole who's melting down. Now, listen, I'm not the biggest Pedro Pascal fan in the world, right? I liked him in Gladiator. I liked him in The Mandalorian. I really can't think of anything else that I've seen him in or liked him in or whatnot. I know he's been in too much stuff. People are like, oh, we have Pedro Pascal fatigue. We'll get to that in a second. And I know he's had some tweets out there comparing, and here's where the snowflake thing comes in, comparing Trump supporters, MAGA supporters to, the bad guys from World War II, the Confederates. And I'm just like, people melt down over that type of stuff. Like my fellow Republicans melt down. And I'm like, why are we turning into snowflakes? We're tougher than that. Like, that's it. Because I look at that and I'm like, that's it. The same old thing. That's all you can say is the same old insult that we're bigots and racists. That's it. That's all you got. Like, we're really Republicans, conservatives. We're really creative with our shit. Let me tell you something. When it comes to insulting the other side, we're really, really creative. So I see that, and I'm like, I'm not insulted by that. It's just another Democrat or liberal calling me something that they've been calling us for years. And I'm like, oh, you don't have any new ideas or thoughts, or you don't have any creativity, even though you're in Hollywood too. And it's like, you have nothing. You have the same thing. It's just like your politics and your policies. You have the same thing over and over and over again. It just doesn't work. No one likes. But it's the same thing. It's like, why are we as Republicans melting down over this stuff? Why are we becoming the snowflakes all of a sudden? So I'm like, okay, let's figure out what the hell Pedro Pascal did. All right, let's figure that out. So I did some very easy research because it's there. All right, let's see here. He melted down. All right, there it is. Okay. Chilean American. Now I've been told he melted down, profanity-laced meltdown. This is what I've been told by these conservative echo chambers. Okay, cool. Why? I'm geared up. I'm ready. Profanity-laced. Well, shit, I've already sworn in this video at least 3 times. I'm like, this ought to be good. Profanity-laced. I'm all about some profanity. Chilean American actor Pedro Pascal issued an expletive laced call for Hollywood to resist political pressure in the United States on Saturday while admitting it's scary to speak out against President Donald Trump. All right, well, that's the headline. Let's see what he said. Asked about Trump's immigration policies, The Last of Us star told reporters, it's very scary for an actor participating in a movie to sort of speak to issues like this. Okay, he's generalizing. I mean, it could be scary for him. He's generalizing, but I'm so far, I'm like, where's the rant? Where's the expletive-laced rant? I'm an immigrant. My parents are refugees from Chile, which we'll get into. We fled a dictatorship, and I was privileged enough to grow up in the U.S. after asylum in Denmark. I stand by those protections, the 50-year-old told a news conference in Cannes. Okay. All right, so waiting for my profanity-laced rant. I mean, by the way, we're going to get into this because all of a sudden the echo chambers that I talked about, and again, I'm a Republican, but I call out the bullshit when I see the bullshit. They were trying to spin this as like he and his parents were like members of some dictator. It was weird. We'll get into it. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Not seeing it. Oh, wait, I see an F1. Okay. So keep telling the stories, keep expressing yourself, and keep fighting to be who you are, he said. F the people that try to make you scared and fight back. This is the perfect way to do so in telling stories. Don't let them win. That was it. That's it. I was told he melted down. I was told he had this profanity-laced just where is it? That's what I was told. That's what the thumbnail said. Profanity-laced, Pedro Pascal ruining Fantastic Four with his message. I'm like, okay, but where is it? He dropped the F-bomb. Shit, I dropped the F-bomb 5 times before hitting the play button here when I went live. It's just, that's it? Are we becoming snowflakes? Like, is the Republican Party, do I have to leave there? Like, listen, I left the Democrats because I don't want to be a fucking snowflake. The Republicans seem to be becoming snowflakes. Can we go? And I want to tell my fellow Republicans, get your shit together. He used the F-bomb. We're way more creative, right? All they can say is F Donald Trump. That's it. That's all they got. Shit, we had Let's Go Brandon for years. We were creative. That shit was funny. And we all knew what it meant. But all of a sudden someone turns around and goes, F your president? I'm like, and we're melting down? No. Look at that for what it is. That's it. That's all they got. That's all they got because they have nothing to talk about. They have no policy. They have no evidence. They have nothing. They got nothing. We had Let's Go Brandon and then the facts on our side. It was great. They've got nothing. They don't even have creativity. They've got nothing. So are we melting down? Why are we melting down? Can we stop melting down? We're not snowflakes. We're Republicans. And by the way, as Republicans, being an actor, let's face it, doesn't automatically disqualify you as a person. One of the greatest Republican presidents was Ronald Reagan. He was an actor. So again, I'm not sure where all this is coming from. But anyways, so all of this crap came out about Pedro Pascal on the internet and how he's this and this horrible profanity-laced thing that just wasn't true. All right, fine. But in all the comment sections, you had all these people adding in, he's a member, he and his family were members of the dictatorship. And he is like, okay. So they were kind of tying him into political crimes and human rights violations from the country where he came from, which is Chile. And I'm like, okay, now you're getting into my territory. Because if you've been with me for a while, you know where my master's degree comes from. It comes from being a studier of human rights violations in Central and South America. So here's the deal, okay? Yes. Well, first of all, there's Pedro Pascal's parents. That's his dad, still alive. That's his mother. She's already dead. She's been dead for a little bit. Now, one of the accusations against Pedro Pascal, again, I'm like, why this, how people jump to these conclusions, is that his mother is the cousin to a niece of uncle, distant relative of this dude. Salvador Allende Gossons, who was the leader of Chile. He's a socialist. Yes, don't like the socialists, but he was a socialist. And he was pretty popular at the time. And his parents were a member of that party, that political party. Now, did Salvador Allende Gossons commit some human rights violations? Yeah. Yeah, were they egregious? I mean, well, any human rights violation is egregious. But yeah, they stifled some speech. They broke up some protests kind of forcibly. It's estimated that during his reign, which, was a few years, about 1,000 people either died by by police brutality or whatnot. So, okay, cool. So yeah, it's Chile, it's Latin America. Kind of par for the course, but anyways. So, but because Pedro's parents are members of that same party, and that this woman, his mother, is somehow related to someone who is 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 related to someone in that political party or in that administration higher up, all of a sudden now the narrative is that Pedro Pascal and his parents committed human rights violations. And I'm just like, okay, this dude here, his reign ended in 1973. Pedro Pascal was not born until April 2nd, 1975. How can you blame Pedro Pascal or tie him to human rights abuses in Chile when he wasn't even born? Like, he wasn't even alive. Is that what we're doing now as Republicans? Are we melting down and are we spinning these kind of narratives? Are we that desperate? Have we become this desperate? Like, we're supposed to be the party of like reason, common sense. There's no common sense in that. There's no evidence that his parents ever participated in or did it. They were professors, they were teachers. But what happens in 1973? This asshole takes over. By the way, this guy, one of the worst dictators in Latin American history. In his first year, almost over 4,000 people disappeared or were murdered by his regime. And it kept happening year after year. This guy was brutal. And by the way, the reason why this guy was in power is your president, Richard Milhouse Nixon, Republican, by the way, in his administration, put him in power because they didn't like socialists. So what they said, yeah, we'll take the dictator who kills people. All right. Well, the dictator, Augusto Pinochet Ugarte, decides that he's going to start killing everybody who was a member of this guy's political party, whether you participated or not, which of course means these two people and now this one when he gets born in 1975. So what happens? They flee. They leave. They go to Denmark. They're political refugees. They're like, we don't want to die, because that was actually a reality. This guy was actually just taking, oh, you're a member of the political party, that's how you vote? Okay, you have to die now. No jury, no judge, no nothing, no judicial process. But that's the narrative. That's what history is. But the narrative is that they went to Denmark, right? They fled their country because they didn't want to get arrested or be in trouble for the stuff that they did. And I'm like, really? Are we really going to hate Pedro Pascal that much for his political views that we're going to make up those kinds of stories? Again, Republicans, we are not that party. At least I didn't think we were, but apparently maybe that's what we're becoming. I don't know, but pump the brakes. The guy drops one F-bomb and you're like, he's a human rights violator. He wasn't born yet. Still. But when they fled, he was like 2 years old. Still. His parents had nothing to do with it. Still. I'm like, really? That's what we're gonna hate on him for that? That's the narrative we're going with? Like, if you don't like his acting, that's fine. If you don't like his politics, that's fine. I don't like his politics. Still going to go see the Fantastic Four. I'm still going to watch the Mandalorian movie. But I'm not going to make up shit about the guy. Right? Why would I make up stuff for the guy? Oh, you want the clicks and the clickbait and all that, but that's the echo chamber. People get into the echo chamber. Right? Pedro Pascal, human rights violator. I'm like, he was only 1 year old during that time. I don't think he really, he was still shitting himself, basically. I don't think he was doing anything. But that's the narrative that's being attached because he says F Trump. Listen, Republicans, we're way tougher than that. We're way tougher than that. And like I said, when someone says F Trump, you're like, that's all you got now? That's it? That's all? Man, talk about weak sauce, weak competition. I almost feel bad for Democrats at this point that they can't come up with anything more creative, anything more, I don't know, amusing. At least make me chuckle, make me laugh, come up with something. There's nothing, and this is what we do. So now the other thing about Pedro, I keep hearing that. He's in too many movies. He's in too many shows. I'm tired of seeing Pedro Pascal. Okay. Yeah, I agree. He's in a lot of stuff, and it's kind of getting a little Pedro Pascal fatigue. But why am I getting mad at Pedro Pascal for that? Like, they get mad. He gets lambasted. I'm like, wait a minute. So what you're telling me is that you're upset that every time a studio offers Pedro Pascal a check for $15 million to star in a movie or a TV series, that he should say no? Listen, if someone's going to come to me and offer me $15 million over and over and over and over again, I'm cashing that check. So why are we mad at him for that? Why are we like, I'm so tired of Pedro Pascal. Why is he going to be in everything? Well, because they keep offering him money and he keeps saying yes. You'd keep saying yes too. And if you say no, you wouldn't, you're a fucking hypocrite and a liar. Because you would. I certainly would. Shit, 50, just offer me $1 million, I'll keep doing it. We're going to give you $1 million, done. But you don't even, done. But it's a story, done. Check for $1 million over and over and over again? Sure, cool. Generational wealth for my family for the foreseeable century? Done. from political refugee to hundreds of millions of dollars, done. But we're supposed to be mad at him for that? I'm not sure why. Again, I don't know the reasoning. Maybe someone can explain it to me. Once again, you could decide not to see his movies or see his TV shows because you don't like his politics. That's fine. That's fine. But just just come out and say that. I don't watch Pedro Pascal because I don't like his politics. Okay. That's fine. You don't have to make up shit about his life. You don't have to make up shit about, or you just don't have to, or hate on him because he's more successful. It seems like just hate for hate's sake. And I'm just like, I joined the Republican Party because that's what the Democrats used to do. That's why I left the Democratic Party. I'm like, I thought we were different. You told me we were different. Did you lie to me? Someone answer that one. Did you lie? Or is it just hate on both sides? But there it is. Pedro Pascal, the story of the week. I just kept seeing it over and over and over again. Melting down. No, he didn't melt down. The guy doesn't, there's no video of him standing and screaming and yelling. I know what a meltdown is. I've had plenty of them myself. And it just seems like we're trying to sabotage movies. Why is it? Why are we trying to sabotage movies before they even come out? I never understood that. It's like, we're more interested in watching something fail than watching something succeed, and I never got that. I never understood it. And it seems like we just dehumanize people to do it. Dehumanize this guy. I don't know who next week. I don't know who we're going to dehumanize next week. We'll pick somebody. Right? But there you go. That's what I was interested in all week. And like, wow, what is going on? What's with the hate? It's just, I almost titled this video Pretty Hate Machine because it just seems like it was a hate machine just ramping up, just going. Well, anyways. We do have Trump news. And this is late breaking Trump news. This actually just kind of happened about an hour or two ago. Good old friend Trump. How you doing, buddy? All right. So somewhere in the United States, there is this court called the U.S. Court of International Trade. Well, they came down. There's 3 people on this court. It's in Manhattan. They said it is illegal and it is against policy to allow the president to issue tariffs on his own. He needs congressional approval. Congress needs to get involved. And so they stopped all the tariffs. For a few brief hours, all tariffs were off. It was pre-Trump. And I was like, wow, this is going to be bad. But then a federal appeals court came in and said, no, U.S. Court of International Trade, you 3 justices, no, you don't get to do that. He's the president. He can put a tariff on. And not only can he put a tariff on, if you still don't think he can put a tariff on, we're going to wait and actually have a court case. We're going to argue the merits of the case like we should. I don't think the Supreme Court even hears this one. I think they're just like, no, he's the president. He can put tariffs on. So it was just weird back and forth. Then like, tariffs, no tariffs, tariffs, no tariffs. And then my favorite part of it, as always, if you listen, I'm not saying you have to do this, but Truth Social can be a fun place. The president's response, which goes on for a little bit. Now, let me take a sip of water before I launch into this one. You can just, I can hear the typing on his phone. Here we go. At Real Donald Trump, the U.S. Court of International Trade incredibly ruled against the United States of America on desperately needed tariffs, but fortunately, the full 11-judge panel on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit Court has just stayed the order by the Manhattan-based Court of International Trade. Where did these initial 3 judges come from? How is it possible for them to have potentially done such damage to the United States of America Is it purely a hatred of Trump? What other reason could it be? I was new to Washington, and it was suggested that I use the Federalist Society as a recommending source on judges. The Federalist Society is a supposed conservative think tank. It's not. It's sometimes conservative, sometimes moderate. It's basically middle of the road. It's basically, it's a networking thing. It's not, all right? But anyways, but he took their recommendations. He goes, I did so openly and freely, but then realized that they were under the thumb of a real sleazebag. I love it. This is my president, named Leonard Leo. Leonard Leo, real sleazebag. A bad person who, in his own way, probably hates America and obviously has his own separate ambitions. He openly brags about how he controls judges and even justices of the U.S. Supreme Court. I hope that is not so, and I don't believe it is. In any event, Leo left the Federalist Society to do his own thing. I'm so disappointed in the Federalist Society. This thing goes on. Because of the bad advice they gave me on numerous judicial nominations, this is something that cannot be forgotten. With all of that being said, I am very proud of many of our picks, but very disappointed in others. They always must do what's right for the country. In this case, it is only because of my successful use of tariffs that many trillions of dollars have already begun pouring into the United States of America from other countries. Money that, without these tariffs, we would not be able to get. It is the difference between having a rich, prosperous, and successful United States of America and quite the opposite. And he just keeps going. Woo, he was pissed. He was on a rant. The ruling by the U.S. Court of International Trade is so wrong and so political, but hopefully the Supreme Court will reverse this horrible country-threatening decision quickly and decisively. Backroom hustlers must not be allowed to destroy our nation. The horrific decision stated that I would have to get the approval of Congress for these tariffs. In other words, hundreds of politicians would sit around D.C. for weeks and even months trying to come to a conclusion as to what to charge other countries that are treating us unfairly. Man needs to learn some brevity sometimes. All right, where were we? All right, here we go. All right. If allowed to stand, this would completely destroy presidential power. The presidency would never be the same. He's right. He's right. The president has the power to put on tariffs. This decision is being hailed all over the world by every country other than the United States of America. Radical left judges, together with some very bad people, are destroying America. Under this decision, trillions of dollars would be lost by our country, money that will make America great again. It would be the harshest financial ruling ever leveled on us as a sovereign nation. The President of the United States must be allowed to protect America against those that are doing it economic and financial harm. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And he concludes his statement. So there's a bunch of replies. I'm kind of afraid to actually get into the replies. It's Truth Social. I've been on it. I read it. Keeps me up to date on some things. But one thing we will go over tomorrow, just as a side note, Elon Musk, President Trump in the Oval Office for a press conference, 1:30 Eastern, Elon's last day. He's going back to wherever he goes to, Tesla, SpaceX, whatever, because his rocket blows up and stuff. And he's going to get things to work. But either way, that is one of the longest Truth Social posts I have ever seen the president put out. Pissed off, but the appellate court did the right thing, right? They did the right thing. You can't have you can't have three judges in Manhattan tell the president of the United States what he can and cannot do. It doesn't work that way. We have federal courts, federal appellates, and then a Supreme Court for a reason, and that's how that should work. But there you go. That's what we had. That's what we had today. Very interesting, but again, I don't think even the Supreme Court takes this up. Supreme Court's just going to let it be like the president can put a tariff on it if he wants. We're not even going to talk to you guys about this stuff. Just not even going to talk to you about it. Now, Nixon had an enemies list. That's true. And for some reason, hopefully this article does come up. Oh, there it did. Takes a minute. It's the Wall Street Journal. What can I say? President Trump has an enemies list too, but this one has to deal with sanctuary cities and sanctuary counties and eventually sanctuary states. But the Trump administration on Thursday named countries and cities in more than 30 states, including New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Seattle, as sanctuary jurisdictions you could go after for not complying with federal immigration laws. I don't know how you feel about that. I feel okay with it. You're going to take federal money, and you gotta abide by federal law. If you don't want to abide by federal law, you don't get federal money. I see no reason to have that problem. Federal law says you can't do this, and then you have one little space in the country saying, no, we're going to do that. No, it's federal law. It's federal law. The system is set up federal and state. States have certain rights. The federal government has certain rights. And in this case, federal law will trump the state law, for lack of a better term. So you're starting to see, now they name Los Angeles on this list and things like that. You already have Gavin Newsom coming out and going, yeah, the whole transgender thing, we're not going to do that anymore. And yeah, we're giving free healthcare to illegal immigrants. Yeah, the next budget, we're not going to do that anymore. Even though he was all about being a sanctuary state, putting money and time and effort into Trump-proofing his state. You know, money talks, bullshit walks, baby. That's it. Without federal money, California's Medicare collapses. Without federal money, California's health system collapses. Without federal money, their prison system collapses. Without federal money, their infrastructure system collapses because they take so much federal money. Cut any of it and their hair will be off. It'll be like a John Carpenter film. It'll be terrible. And so even the governor of California is just like, yeah, all right, well, I guess it was fun for a few years, but back to reality. You know, call it an enemies list, call it whatever you want. I love that they have the mayor of Boston there with their Ash Wednesday ashes still on her forehead. They couldn't find another picture of her. They had to put that one on. Now you have the Chicago mayor there, which, you know, he's already under investigation. He's going to be under investigation. Why? Because he was at a church giving a speech and he's like, I only hire black people. Why? Because if you're black, you're generous and other people are not. So you have basically a racial preference. And he's like, yeah. I thought we weren't supposed to do that, but apparently we do in Chicago. So here comes the Department of Justice, and they're going to look into the mayor of Chicago. They had Lori Lightfoot, now they have this dude. They can't get nothing right, can they? They can't hire anybody with just like, hey, I just want to govern the city. I just want to make the city better. I don't need the messaging and all. Nope. But it's Chicago, it's a city, it's always going to elect those people, and that's what it is. It's going to elect liberals that want to put forward a message of, you know, whatever it is, whether it's racial equality, gender equality, and then kind of distort that and come out. He literally came out. You can see the video. He was out there. It's like, nope, because black people are the most generous race. Based on what? I'm pretty generous. I think I'm not black. I mean, I'm white, but I'm pretty generous. I thought I was generous. I think, I've met Asian people. They're pretty generous. They're really nice to me. I didn't be like, rate them or anything like that. I'm like, on the generous scale, you're a 7. I didn't know. I didn't know there was a scale. I didn't know there was a sliding scale. I didn't know there was, I didn't know. But apparently if you live in Chicago and you're not black, you're not generous. And therefore you can't be a member of his administration. Fantastic. Well, there you go. So let's see here. Oh, look at this. Here's the list. Sanctuary cities and counties. There's a lot of Alaska, city of Anchorage, of course. California. Basically every city in California. And in every county in California. Colorado. Let's see, Boulder, Aurora, of course, Colorado, Denver. Counties, everything in Colorado. It's literally, it's like, just say the state. Connecticut. Oh, Hartford's a shithole, by the way. Don't ever go to Hartford. I brought my wife to Hartford once because she's like, oh, let's go to Hartford. I've never been to Hartford. I brought her there in about 20 minutes. She's like, please take me away from here. It's bad. It was bad. Washington, D.C., no problem. Delaware, Joe Biden country. Georgia, really? Georgia? Athens, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes Hawaii. Idaho. Looks like all those Californians California'd your Idaho. The California your Idaho. I'm sure the people that are real Idaho citizens, born and bred, I'm sure they're real happy about that. I'm sure they're real happy. There's Illinois. All Illinois. Oh, wow. Kansas. Yeah, okay. Kentucky. I didn't know Kentucky had sanctuary cities. Louisville's a sanctuary city? Okay. Louisiana. Now, come on, this list has got to be bullshit. I've been to Louisiana. There's nothing sanctuary about it. That place, when you drive through it, you're just like, thank God I survived driving through it. All right, New Orleans. All right, fine. Maine. Yeah, Maine. They call it vacation land. It's an odd place you go up there. It's like a Twin Peaks episode. Maryland. Massachusetts. There it is. Just say Massachusetts. Just literally born and raised in Massachusetts. Just say Massachusetts. There isn't a conservative part of Mass. There isn't. There is. Is Worcester on this list? How can Worcester not be? Worcester County. Yep, Worcester. City of Worcester, by the way, second largest city in New England, was one of the first transgender sanctuary cities. And you can see our video on that if you type that in. It's hilarious. The meeting that they had with all the transgender members that came in full makeup and everything to yell and scream at the city selectmen. It was absolutely hilarious. One of them kind of tried to rap. One said that their life is being threatened. Their life was in danger, and I wasn't sure why. No one bothered to ask them because of Trump. And I'm not sure still why, because people will tell me, I hear that from transgender people all the time, my life is in danger. Did I miss something? Did I miss the executive order which authorized the transgender police and execution squad? Did I miss that? Like, I don't think that's a thing, but I don't know. Maybe I missed it. I can't catch everything, but you can let me know. Michigan. I lived in Michigan. Half of Michigan is blue. Half of Michigan is red. It's a very bipolar state. Awesome state, but it's very bipolar. Minnesota, of course. Nebraska, that one got me. I was like, really? New Hampshire? Yeah, I guess so. Okay. New Jersey, that makes sense. New Mexico's got so many problems, folks. Stay out of Albuquerque. New York, of course. North Carolina, really? North Dakota, really? North Dakota? It's like you think something's red. Ain't that red? Ohio? Okay. Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. Hey, where the mob is from, Rhode Island, right? Get yourself to Federal Hill in Rhode Island, Providence. You see some guys with some crooked noses and some suits. Don't talk to them. They don't want to be bothered. All right, Tennessee, Vermont, of course. Virginia, of course. No, we almost did it again. I went too fast. Washington State, of course. Wisconsin. Do more than just cheese there, okay? But there you go. There's Trump's sanctuary city hit list. Gonna get your federal funding cut. That ought to be fun for everybody that lives in your state because you don't want to abide by federal law, or federal order, or federal decree, or federal whatever. You want to do your own thing, that's fine. You don't get federal money, that's fine. You can do your own thing, just don't expect everybody else to pay for it because that's not how the world works anymore. It's not how it's going to work anymore. It's like, I can do what I want, but I shouldn't expect everybody else to pay for it. shouldn't happen that way. But let me know. I've lived in many of those counties. Oh, you know what? We were going to go back to Michigan. I got to see. Was it on it? Was it on it? It's a good old Kalamazoo. Yeah, there it is. Kalamazoo County. That's right. Kalamazoo is a real city. That's a real thing. It's not something you just hear in Bugs Bunny. I lived there. It's really actually a nice place. I like it. Actually, it was really fun. Good times. Good time. Cold as hell in the winters, but Kalamazoo County. Jesus, everywhere I've lived. Texas isn't on this list, right? No, of course not, right? All right, I'm 2 for 3. I am 2 for 3. I'm batting 600. 2 of the counties I've lived in my life are on the hit list. I don't know if I feel honored or, I don't know, disappointed in myself. I don't know. But there you go. There's his hit list. All right. All right. Get rid of that. And back to me, my pretty face. You know, every time I do these streams, I look at myself in the camera and I'm like thinking, am I like going lower and lower? Like my chair is as high up as it is, but I feel like I start out higher. Like I got really good posture, and as I go, I just kind of slouch. I don't know. I could be one of those old people. I'm sitting on a pillow. I don't know. Do that. I don't know if that'll work, but we'll find out. Maybe I'm just too heavy. I'm just collapsing this chair. So with that, though, it's been fun. This has been my first stream back since getting sick, being down for the count. So I wanted to ease back into it, really just have some fun with some of these articles. But I really appreciate it letting me back on, being there for me, everybody watching. I really appreciate last week. We had some of our most successful streams ever. And just thank you very much. So I'm going to get on out of here. It's a Thursday. It's Thursday, right? It's Thursday? I think it's Thursday. That's how sick I was. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. I'm still your reluctant gringo. I'm going to go play some video games and have some fun from south of the border. Salut. A huevo. Everybody have a great night.
You a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
So long, gay boys!